Hi, so this is just another update of me checking in with you, seeing how you are, hoping that you're all okay, hoping that you've adjusted to quarantine now, and that you've got a new routine, a new way of spending your day each day, and hopefully one that's productive for you, one that works, one that holds you. Provides grounding for you, provides comfort and growth and challenge. Good challenge, not bad challenge. So yeah, I think it's taken all of us, myself included, a few weeks to adapt to this new lifestyle, this new way of being. And for some of you, that challenge would have been harder than others. For some of you, the adjustment would have been harder than for others. If you're used to going out to work every day and being in an office surrounded by people, if you're used to having to take a long commute to and from work, if you're used to traveling abroad during the week for work or to a different county or state, if you're used to taking your children to school and collecting them each day, and having that central part of the day to yourself, to your own needs, and to domestic chores. If you are used to working with people one-to-one, coaching them, counselling them, tutoring them, if you're used to doing all of these things in person and now suddenly you're at home and you're either not able to do them at all or you have to change the way that you do them, then this is an adjustment, and I think we've made this adjustment pretty well, actually, all of us, on the whole, and I think that we've made it pretty quickly, and we should give ourselves a pat on the back for that. I think maybe some of the time, because of what's going on around us at the moment, when we get lost in that, when we get sucked into it, when we maybe touch base with the news a little bit too much, and get swallowed up by the fear, and we lose sight of actually like how great we are doing and what we have achieved in this time, and we forget to congratulate ourselves for that. We're doing great. We really are doing great all over the world. People are being amazing. They're pulling together. We've all gone into like lockdown. We're all at home. We're all doing our bit for ourselves and for everybody, for the world as a whole. We're staying in not just to protect ourselves and our loved ones, but also to protect everybody, every single person out there. So we're all volunteering, and we're all being of service, and we deserve congratulations for that. We deserve praise for the fact that we're not out there rioting in the streets, that we're not screaming and ranting and raving. That we're not breaking into shops and pillaging things, and we could be acting so differently from the way that we are now. And as a whole, for the most part, people are being peaceful, and they're taking it on the chin, and they're committing themselves to this act of service. And I think that's a really amazing thing. I don't think people have pulled together like this to this extent for a very, very long time, certainly not in my lifetime. And so as scary as everything around us can seem, there are positive things to hold on to as well, and this is one of them. The fact that man has been so divided for so long, with disputes over territory and money, and it goes on and on and on, and I don't want to go down that hole. But at the moment, we are one. Everybody is one. We're all the same, and we're all united in supporting the service workers at the moment, the people out there who normally don't get given the appreciation and the respect that they deserve and need, and who maybe aren't taken care of properly anyway, or like the healthcare workers are constantly going on strike, asking for better hours, more pay, better equipment, etc. And now I think we're finally realizing like how much they deserve all of that, and maybe that they should be taken a little bit more seriously in future, because when push comes to shove, when we're up against the wall, these are the people that we're relying on, not the people in suits in the fancy buildings, not the people with like fast cars, and big houses and holiday homes and islands, etc., etc. No, these people like you and me, are the people who are the most important right now, are the people that are keeping us together, the people that are putting themselves out there on the front line and potentially sacrificing their lives for us. And I, for one, am extremely grateful to those people, and I'm humbled by their bravery and their acts of service. So yeah, what else did I want to talk about? On another note, I think I'm finding myself this week, like the first week I was completely overwhelmed and I couldn't quite process what was going on in my head. It had hit me really suddenly. I hadn't been following the news prior to that really, so I only vaguely kind of knew about the whole COVID thing. And then when just like that, it happened here and we were in quarantine just within a matter of hours. 1 minute, we were out and about and everything was fine, and the next minute it was like, no, you got to go home. We're going into quarantine, and it came out of the blue. So that took me a while to process, and it took me a while to deal with the fact that I have no control over my life anymore, and over what I choose to do. To a large extent, there are things that I can still choose to do or not to do within the confines of my own living quarters, but beyond that, I'm powerless. Things that I took for granted, going for a simple walk, I can't do that anymore. That's not my choice. I have no power over that. So that was the first week, was really adjusting to that and dealing with the scary of everything. And then the second week was trying to figure out a new routine, stepping into that, still dealing with the grief, the sadness at what was going on, and the great cost of it, dealing with a bit of fear as well that kept rising up out of nowhere, and maybe a bit of anger and frustration, and then kind of like cozying down into denial. And I didn't do that at all in the first week. And then this week I'm over it now. I really feel like I'm over it this week. I'm bored. I'm bored now. Can I just get back to my normal life? I've kind of done the solitude thing. I haven't gone outside for 2 weeks, 3 weeks now. Whoa, that's a big deal. I have never not been outside for 3 weeks before in my entire life. I've struggled to not go outside for 1 day before, because I really value fresh air and just going for a walk and feeling like the sun on my face and looking up at the blue sky and having trees and birds and life around me. I really, really value that, and not having that is huge. It's really huge. And so I haven't been outside for 3 weeks, and this is just weird, big. And I'm over it. I really am over. I'm over feeling scared. I'm over being anxious. I am over worrying about whether tomorrow will even exist. I am over worrying about whether I'm going to get this virus, whether I'm going to die. I've spent 2-3 weeks cycling in and out of all of these feelings, all of these fear, terror, panic, sadness, grief, overwhelm, anger, frustration and denial, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, and kind of over it. And a part of me feels like I can't be bothered to look at the news anymore. I can't be bothered to check out the social media and find out what's going on here locally where I live in terms of the virus. I can't be bothered to listen to any of the podcasts that I've been listening to about the virus and about what's going on out there. I want it all over. I'm bored. I want to get back to normal life. I want to just focus on what I want to focus on, not feeling like I have to devote a certain percentage of my time each day to just keeping abreast of what's going on so that I can stay safe. And so I guess I'm finding myself throwing a silent tantrum, and and then trying to work out what's the best way forwards. I mean, it's not wise to look into it too deeply and to spend too much time following what's going on, because it's scary, and there are different people saying different things, and you know, in general the news is meant to evoke and provoke emotion, and it really does in me powerfully, and that's why I tend to stay away from it in general. But yet, if I just bury myself in study and research and new projects and growth, then maybe that's dangerous, and maybe then I'm not going to be prepared, and I won't be able to protect myself and my family, and that worries me too. And so I'm kind of stuck, and I don't really know what to do at the moment, and so it's this weird kind of limbo. It's like I've created this new routine, and it's quite a nice routine. It works for me quite well. I kind of, you know, I wake up in the morning, and I go about my business, and part of my morning chores includes cleaning. My cleaning regime at the moment is pretty intense, and it lasts for quite a long time, because we've been told to keep clean, so that, you know, there's no chance of this virus being on any of the surfaces where we live, and so then we don't have, you know, we're not in danger of catching it and touching it and getting inside of us. And so yeah, I clean every morning for probably between 1 to 2 hours, and that sounds extreme, and it is extreme, but I felt like every time someone goes out, not me, to get supplies and then comes back, there is the potential that this safe space has been violated. And I guess this safe space feels even more fragile than ever before, because my safe space previously was like the country I was living in, you know, my immediate world, and the places that I knew and the places that I went to, and this was part of my security before. The fact that these places would remain the same, that they would be there every day, that there would be people in them, that if I went inside of them, there would be somebody that I knew working there who would greet me. And all of these things have gone now. So all I have is this silent space that I live inside of, within this building. And the building doesn't feel as safe as it used to, because, well, it's full of other people, and what if those people get sick? Are they then going to infect us? And, you know, they're touching the stairwells and stuff, and so does that mean there's a potential that could come inside our flat? And, oh, what if one of them comes to the door and they want something, or even worse, someone tries to break in? And so this home that I live in, it's always felt safe before, because it's right at the top of the building, and, you know, it's an effort to get there. There is no lift, so you just really wouldn't bother. It doesn't feel as safe anymore, and so cleaning it helps it to feel a little bit safer. It's like, well, at least I can feel like I have some control over that exposure, and a lot of it is I feel like I have some control, because you know, we don't have access to the exact products that they're telling us we should be using to clean with. Supplies are short here, and we only have what is on the island anyway, so it's really, really limited compared to a lot of other places. And we can't order stuff. You know, we there is no postal service, there is nothing working, and you know, like other places have got Amazon, and we don't have Amazon. Like, you know, that's in Spain, and the borders are shut, and so we don't, and so it's complicated. You know, you have what you have, so we're cleaning, but we're only cleaning with like what we can create out of alcohol solution and vinegar and water and some essential oils. And normally, I mean, that's way stronger than what I would use normally. Normally I do not use alcohol to clean with. I just don't like it at all. I hate it. I think it destroys the good bacteria as well as the bad bacteria. But at the moment, I've been scared into using it, so it's being used on every surface, and I'm using it on my hands as well, and I would never ever have done that before. so I get a kind of catharsis out of that process in my morning of just cleaning. I'm putting my world to right. I am eliminating any danger that may have crept in the day before, and I'm putting it all to rights so that I have a blank canvas, a safe space upon which to begin again. And I quite like that from a spiritual perspective. It works for me. And then I've just started diving back into yoga. I haven't practiced yoga for a while, but not being able to go out for a walk or to the gym, I decided to like get back into yoga again, just to do a bit of exercise, and it's been beautiful. I've loved it. That whole like coming back together with my body in a way that other exercise doesn't do, and that's been very grounding and centering and peaceful for me, and it sets my day up really nicely and beautifully. But then I found that by the time I actually like finish doing all of my little bits and start my day, it's crept later and later and later. So at the beginning of this, it was like, how am I going to fill all of that extra space? The day is now so long. And yet somehow I unconsciously have without even realizing it. And so now when I begin my day, it's like, yikes, I don't have enough day left. Again, I've gone back to that place that I was before to this, which was like, I never had enough time. And now I'm back at that. I don't have enough time and space. And so this amuses me. But I'm trying to make the most of my time, and I'm trying to study things that interest me, like spiritual growth, and healing. And then I've been looking into things to do with like social networking and the internet, and just trying to get my head around that because I've shied away from it for ages. But there are conflicts there with, like, when I shoot these videos, it's actually quite complicated for me because ordinarily it would have been just me in my space. Because like I worked from home previously anyway, a lot, so I'm used to having like an empty silent space during the day, and now I'm like, sharing it with my partner, and we make noise at different times. So I'll be sitting down recording something, and then he'll start moving around, and he'll put the kettle on, and he'll start cooking or something, and I have no control over my silent space anymore in the way that I did before. And I also have a little dog who's beside me right now, actually, and because her routine has changed, her behavior has changed, and so previously when we would sit together and work, she really wouldn't move so much. She would just sleep the whole time, because it was like a shorter space of hours in one place, and then after that we would go for a walk together, and she would get her exercise, and that would kind of like wear her out for the day. And now it's different now, because she's not going outside and getting her exercise, because we don't want to take her out because she's immunocompromised, and also because we don't have the choice of where to walk her anymore. And living in the center of the city, it's not like the nicest, cleanest place to take her for a walk, and we're not allowed to go very far from where we live, and so we just decided that it's better to keep her inside where she's safe. It's an unnecessary risk going out for a walk, and so she's not getting as much kind of mental stimulation as previously, so she's getting a bit restless. So she will then suddenly jump up in the middle of me doing something and decide she wants to go to get some water, or go toilet or something, and this is amusing too, because I have no power over this, and she gives me no warning, and it's not like she's like taps me on the leg and goes, "Oh mummy, can you let me down because I need to go and get something." She just leaps up, and then that's it. She's completely impatient, has to be now. So yeah, so it's been amusing, these little kind of like blips and things. But we're all working out on a new routine, and my little doggy is getting used to walking around the flat, being coaxed by peas. She likes frozen peas. Well, no, thawed peas, but she likes peas that were frozen, thawed. And she won't go for a walk like with you around the space unless you bribe her. She only works for food. And so yeah, so we've been trying to incorporate a walk each day for her inside, just so she stays active and and strong. So yeah, it's kind of like a new way of life, and it's not so very bad. I think that's what I've realised. It's like it's not this new routine that I object to. I'm okay with it. It's the not being able to go for a walk is what really, really hits me. If I could just go outside and go for a walk once a day by the beach, just along the seafront, on the promenade, if I could just do that once a day, I'd be okay. It would make so much difference. I would be able to say, oh, hi, hello world, there you are still. There you are. The sea's still there, the beach is still there, the rocks are still there. Okay, it's okay. But I can't. So all I can see is what I can see out of my window. And I'm in the middle of the city, it's built up. There's like, you can't see anything. You've got buildings pretty much right in front of you. So your grasp on reality is really narrow all of a sudden. I have no idea what's going on 100 meters away. I can't see it. And that's strange. And yeah, I mean, we don't know how long this is going to last, how long we're going to be in this situation, when we're going to be able to go out again, to safely go out and to interact with one another. I would love to just meet up with a friend and have a cup of tea and chat and have a hug, and it's that not knowing if that's ever going to be possible again. Like, will we ever feel safe touching one another, hugging one another again? Already it's like every time my partner makes a noise that sounds anything like a cold, like clears his throat, coughs, sniffs, rubs his eyes, like he's had allergies recently, and his eyes are like bloodshot, and in the evening it gets worse, and then he gets congested as well, and that's scary. Thinking, oh, have you picked it up when you've gone out on a food run, and are you okay, and do we need to worry, and then if we do need to worry, what do we do, because we don't have a plan in place for like, what if something happens to you. We haven't really planned that because it's bleak and scary, and so we delicately spoke about that last night, but not really, because we were both a bit too freaked out by it. And so his answer was, oh, don't worry, I'll be fine anyway. Even if I get it, I'll still be able to make phone calls. Don't worry, I could sort everything out. We don't have to worry. And yes and no, I would say. But I left it and I didn't push it, because it is a scary conversation. But it's like, without him, if it's left up to me to go out and get the supplies and stuff, it will take me all day, multiple runs to get the stuff, because we have to drink bottled water here. We can't drink the water out of our tap, and we don't have a filter or anything. And then when this started, we wanted to buy just a normal Brita water filter, but they were all sold out before we even got there to buy one. And then from then onwards, those shops have been shut, and all we have access to is a simple supermarket. That's it. And so, yeah, so the whole like bringing back water thing is actually quite a big issue at the moment, and it's an issue for him too, because when he goes out to get food, he wants to get enough food for like, you know, like a good amount of days. You know, he'd like to get enough food for a week ideally, but it's not possible when you're on foot. And you know, like getting water, just bringing back water, enough water for one day is, that's like one whole arm out of action. And then you've got whatever else you need to get. And so, yeah, it's complicated. You know, the problems that we're dealing with right now are different to the problems that we were dealing with before. Our needs have become much more basic and immediate. And we've realised that lots of things are not necessary, that we can do without lots of things, that we can adapt and compromise. And that's fine, and that's good, and that's been useful. But then you realise that other things that you took for granted and that you didn't really consider all that valuable suddenly are the most valuable things ever, like water, like simple produce, like lemons and oranges for vitamin C, and fresh vegetables. You know, all of these things are really precious now. And meat and fish, I mean, these things are harder to come by now if you want like quality, organic, free range, pasture ranged, wild, you know, things like that. I mean, it's a lot harder to get those things because the markets where you got them from are too far away, so you're not allowed to go there even if they are open. Yeah, so that's like kind of provoked weird cravings in me for things that I can't necessarily have. Like yesterday, I wanted potatoes yesterday, and there were no potatoes. So yeah, and I've never really like kind of valued potatoes that much before, but at the moment they're quite useful because they're hearty and they're filling, and so you know you can get a meal out of potato quite easily, and other things seem a little bit frivolous in comparison. So yeah, it's a strange old time, and a part of me is just really done with it, not in a sport brat kind of way, but my brain just can't take any more of this. What the heck happened to the world? Where did reality go? I literally feel like I got picked up and put in a completely different world without any warning. And I look out of the window and it kind of looks the same, but it doesn't, because there are no cars, there are no people, I can't hear anything. All of the shops and cafes and bars are shut. There's no movement, it's just still. It's like this empty, uninhabited space, and all of the people are inside, but you can't see them. Like, so are they even there still? You don't know. So yeah, it's kind of weird, kind of weird, and I just felt like, hey, stop the world, I want to get off. I'd like to get back to where I was before, please. You know, I had issues with that too, but it was a lot better and a lot safer and a lot nicer, or so I thought. So yeah, I kind of like, I'm really looking forward to going back to that, or to going forwards to a better wherever we're going. You know, I don't know what's in the future, and I don't know if there is a better out there. I sincerely hope there is, but I don't know, because nobody knows. It's not like I can ask anybody or look it up on Google and find that information out for myself. It's like there is no information. It's like it's a complete and utter unknown, more unknown than any other situation I've ever been in before. I mean, you know, even when you have like medical predicaments, there's outcomes that you can look at and go, okay, my outcome could be this or this or this or this, but there's an idea, there's an expected outcome. It's like I managed to injure myself really, really quite badly towards the end of week 1 of this self-quarantining. I was trying to do some exercise at home, and I've never really tried to do exercise at home before, apart from yoga, and that was a long time ago, so I'm a bit out of touch. And I thought, in my ignorance, that I would try jogging around our flat in my slippers, so no support, very little padding. And I did this for probably 2-3 days, and I was quite proud of myself, quite excited by the fact that I was doing this, and it was quite fun because it was really silly and daft. And I kind of created a little obstacle course for myself around the flat. And then somehow I really hurt my foot, and I didn't feel it at the time so much. There was a slight as I was doing it, but no like sudden ouch. And then I realised like a couple of hours later or something, ow, I think I did something. I don't think I can do that anymore. And it was kind of okay to start off with, and I was still managing to move around, but I didn't push it. And then the next day, so like 24 hours after I first thought something was not quite right, it started to get worse and worse and worse and worse. So this was 2 weeks ago, and it's still worsening. Or it was until last night when I relented and took ibuprofen, which like I don't take things. I only take natural things. I don't take medicine tablets. I really try not to. And I had to take ibuprofen last night, and I took another one this morning because the pain was so severe and the swelling was so bad, and it was all starting to like look mottled and like it was bruising up, and I was worried, and I ordinarily I would have gone to the doctors, and I would have gone to the hospitals, and I would have had like an x-ray and whatever they suggested, and I don't do x-rays either unless I have to, but this is like bad enough to, yes, I would have to, and I would have it looked at because like I've done something, and at the beginning I thought maybe it was just my Achilles. And maybe I just like kind of like not torn it, but like sprained it or something. And so I kind of like researched some exercises I could do, and I've been doing some massages on it. And I kind of thought that was going okay, really, for about 4 or 5 days. I was like, yeah, it kind of hurts like hell, but it seems to be like the tension seems to be loosening, and I think it's progressing and it's healing. And then it suddenly got worse, and I don't know if it's because part of it's healed, like the tendon bit's healed, so now the pain has travelled down into the actual heel and ankle, but I wasn't able to feel that pain before because of the other pain, or if it's got worse or what, I'm not really sure. I'm trying not to use it too much, but I'm also trying to move a little bit, to keep it flexible and moving, and otherwise, because I don't want it to get stiff and tight and become weak. So I've been doing gentle exercise like yoga and stuff, and I've been like walking gently, just trying to keep fit at the same time. And it seems to be getting worse. And if I was not in quarantine, and if I was not hiding from some virus, I would have last night 100% been in A&E getting this thing checked out, because it's that bad. And yet the fear of catching the virus, of getting corona, that scares me more. So here I am at home, braving, I don't know what. I don't know if I've broken both my ankles or my heels, or chipped bones in them, or just torn things. I have or sprained, I have no idea. But this is weird because like a normal injury normally kind of gets better should be getting better by now. There should be improvement that I can see, and there isn't. It's been getting worse, so it's a little bit confusing, and that's strange to be in a space, in time, in history, where we're really old schooling it. Yeah, I didn't grow up in the old school place. I grew up in modern times. We had all of these like modern conveniences, or they were coming in. So I grew up with all of this stuff. And now it's like back to basics, big time. Self-healing, self-doctoring, self-care, self-feeding. All of it is just everything one is having to do oneself again. And it's a learning. And I'm at peace with the fact that I've injured both my feet, ankles. I'm at peace with it in a way. I'm not feeling sorry for myself, and I'm not whinging. I'm much more bothered about other things. I was in immediate acceptance of it. I laughed at myself, thinking of all the things and in all the times you're stuck at home, you can't go out, and you've injured yourself with a sports injury. Like, how? And also, right now, I think what bothers me about it, more than anything, more than the pain, the discomfort, the inconvenience, is the fact that if I need to get away because the situation around us changes and they're like, right guys, you have to move, go here if you're in safety, I can't walk. I can't walk. And that makes me feel really, really, really vulnerable. So yeah, but I trust that this happened for a reason. I really do trust that this happened for a reason. Weird things like this have happened to me at various times in my life, and there were messages when I wasn't really listening. And so I trust that this happened to me right now so that I don't go outside, so that I don't go, hey, I'm going to go to the pharmacy today, or I'm going to go to the health store, because those two places are like really close to me, and I could be tempted to do that. My partner to the supermarket, not so much, because I can't really be that useful there. So it would be a wasted trip in the sense that it would be risk, but not for a high enough yield. Whereas for the pharmacy or the health food shop, I could go there and I could do the whole errand run that was needed myself without help. But I trust that this injury has happened to me so that I don't do that, because maybe if I had done that, or if I did do that, then I would no longer be safe and I would get the virus. And I'm taking that to heart really seriously, that for some reason I am not supposed to go outside for anything right now, and I am meant to just surrender myself to my partner, and his good grace in doing that for the both of us. Mixed thoughts, mixed conversation, kind of like a little bit all over the place there perhaps, but I just wanted to share like how I was feeling, what this has been like for me, and how I feel like I'm moving through it, and the bumps